All right, let's get started. Welcome to the end of your community event. We've got a packed agenda today with updates from across the team. So, Vlad, take it away, please.
Thank you, David. Welcome, everyone. My name is Vlad. I'm the CEO and founder of Kagi. This is our fourth end-of-year community event. And also fourth time I'm wearing this sweater. This year I was clearly beaten by David. Good choice there, man. Um, Thank you all for supporting Kagi and being with us, being part of the Kagi user community. Just a short update where we are at right now. 65,000 paying customers across search, browser, and assistant. We're processing about a million queries a day, which gets us to about 6 seconds of Google daily searches. So, um, you know, pretty proud of that. The presentation today is gonna be about 90 minutes. We'll we'll try to keep track of the schedule. We have presenters across the product line, followed by Ask Us Anything part at the end. And we won't be taking additional questions because there will probably not be enough time for that. So if you have anything you would like to ask us in addition to questions we will be answering, please join our Discord at kagi.com/discord. And for any of you who will not be viewing this to the end, there will be the video will be uploaded to the Kagi YouTube channel after the event. So with that said, passing it back to David.
Thanks, Vlad, for setting the scene and kicking us off. Now let's get into it. Zach, tell us what's new in search.
Hey, yeah, thanks, guys. First, I want to just start off on behalf of the search team, like thanking everyone for 1 million searches per day. As engineers, it makes us pretty proud to like have a million of something, which was, hard fought for. So, cheers for that. Um, Dave, you can advance the slides. Go, yeah, two slides. Yeah, yeah, perfect. Um, so we'll recap some stuff that we shipped this year. Pretty big one for us was Privacy Pass, which is your way to search Kagi anonymously, built on open standards. This ultimately allows you to search Kagi in an anonymous way with a few small trade-offs, like you can't really use as many settings. Um, but we can talk a little bit quickly about how it works. If you go to the next slide. Basically have an extension that you can install, and you effectively download some tokens that you can get with your subscription. And locally, it does a cryptographic operation, which basically means when you go to use those searches and redeem them, um, we don't know who originally got the tokens, but we know that someone paid for it, and that's pretty much good enough for us. And you can also, if you go to the next slide, you can also combine it with Tor, which we also launched a Tor node at the same time, which basically combining Privacy Pass and Tor, it makes one of the most private search engines in the world that is also responsibly funded by its users. And next slide shares some numbers. At the moment, we have about almost, approaching like 10,000 users of Privacy Pass, doing about 380,000 searches per month. So pretty cool. And of course, we'll keep building on this technology. In 2026, we want to support using Assistant in some capacity with this and other Kagi products as well. So, okay, let's talk about slop, which is apparently the word of the year. Um, but yeah, 2025, it kind of brought this new threat to your search quality, which is the rise of low quality AI content from the, questionable use of LLMs and whatnot. To keep our search results best in class, we have enlisted the help of our community in this kind of slop stop initiative, allowing users to report such AI content directly to us. If you go to the next slide, we have a whole blog post that talks about the background that you can read as well. But basically, the way it works is, when you're searching the web through Kagi, if you see anything that looks like, really low quality AI content, you can click the little shield menu available on, search images and videos, and just hit the little report button there. And that'll queue it for us to view it in our systems. And eventually, once we're kind of in a collection phase right now where we're just like collecting a lot of data, and we'll review all that data and then start feeding the data back into search results sometime in January, which you'll be able to control whether AI content is either downranked, removed, or you can just disable it altogether. And you can see some numbers here. So far, we have somewhere about like 20,000 reports that we're currently going through. And stay tuned for more technical details about how that works, because I'm sure a lot of people have questions, but we'll talk more about that as the year moves on. We also moved some integrations in. So our translation widget, of course, is now powered by Kagi Translate, which is awesome. And we also shipped a PeerTube integration, which, continues to make our video search one of the most diverse, video searches available on the web right now. And lastly, we integrated with Surveillance Watch, which is an open database that documents surveillance and spyware entities. So when your query surfaces a domain that's like, part of like one of these companies, then we'll display a little icon to kind of like, give you a heads up that's a surveilling entity. Talk a little bit about like what we've been kind of heads down on, is we've been working on kind of an overhauled search API. We've had one that's kind of been like beta capacity for a while, but we really wanted to clean it up and like make it like really production ready. So yeah, if you go to the next slide, we have a short little demo of that working. Play is awesome. Okay, yeah. So in the search API that we have now, it's returning more data compared to the old one. It supports basically all the search types, so regular search, images, videos, news. It supports lenses. We have like a time budget control, so results don't take too long to get back to you. We'll be shipping page extraction with it, as well as it'll have like language bindings for, it uses open API, so you can, make bindings for whatever language you want to use. We have new documentation pages, new developer dashboards that we're working on. And yeah, we hope to ship that as soon as possible early next year, so hopefully sometime in January. So stay tuned for more details on that. And we have some other things we've been cooking up too. We have this year we kind of like built up a dedicated team for full-scale indexing of the web. We're going to do it a very Kagi way. It won't be just like yet another index. It'll be kind of be like, really high quality pages to kind of like complement our results and kind of like reduce our dependencies on these other indexes that we use. Won't take too long before you start seeing improvements in your search results that the team has already built. So we'll talk more about that as we ship those. We've also been really overhauling our search pipeline, just to really squeeze out bugs and edge cases for quality, consistency, and robustness. Assistant's been using it under the hood for a long time now. It's been working pretty well. Hope to get that out to everyone again early next year. And later in 2026, we'll be, having a big focus on widgets as well, refreshing our existing ones, bringing new ones, but also giving like users a way to kind of like extend their search results with custom widgets and other custom content. So yeah, I think that about covers it. So thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, Zach. Big updates there, especially Slopstop and the search API. All right, now let's talk assistant. Luis, over to you.
Thanks, David. Yes, let's talk assistant. So 2025 was a defining year for Kagi Assistant. The year when the assistant basically, from our standpoint, moved from a nice extra to something many of you treat as a core part of Kagi. And that story mainly has, so as four main pillars. We expanded access to everyone, to all the subscriptions. We built a powerful experience without compromising on quality and transparency. And we ended up with a clear value proposition, so our first assistant for research. Yes, so the first one. In April, we made a big decision. We decided to make Kagi Assistant available across all subscription plans. That mattered a lot to us because it raised the bar. So broader access works if it stays sustainable. So we also started enforcing our fair use policy at the same time. And it also works if people feel confident about how it works. If we actually build a strong product that people trust and daily drive. So next, we started building the new foundation there. So we focus on the experience. So a question we kept coming back to was, what happens when you don't just ask one thing, but you build a week of thinking inside the assistant or a week of work in there? And earlier in the year, we shipped a major redesign that moved the assistant from the chatbot experience into something closer to a workspace, where a big part of it is organization. So we introduce tags so you can organize your threads. We made temporary threads a concept so that when you have when you tag your threads as temporary, they expire after 24 hours. And obviously, if you remove that tag, the thread is saved. Plus, we shipped many other things throughout the year, such as book actions. And just yesterday, we released a new scroll bar. By the way, if you guys haven't tried it, it's pretty handy for larger threads. We laid the foundation so we can keep pushing to move beyond the chat into something a little bit more durable and useful. And yeah, so that encapsulates a little bit the message around the new foundation, around the new experience. If you go next now. Yes. Now trust, because none of this actually ends up mattering much if you can't evaluate what you're getting. So we did listen to our users' feedback, and we made transparency in the assistant more concrete in multiple ways this year. We added full thread and message cost visibility. So if you're using the assistant regularly, it should be legible, not mysterious for you what a thread is costing or messages cost. We added proportional source attribution to help you evaluate answers and understand your sources. And that also points at the future model where content creators are fully acknowledged and repaid for the content they create in this new AI paradigm. And we aimed for choice without complexity, right? We introduced recommended models, model info boxes, and we continuously benchmark LLMs for multiple tasks as they come. Yeah, the main idea there is really so you can make informed decisions and informed choices without actually turning model picking and following the industry a second job. And finally, the last pillar was a very big key milestone. So recently, as in November, we introduced our research assistants. They were previously known as Key. So our first assistant that was built with and for the community. I was actually checking it a couple of hours before the presentation now, and we shared access to Key with the community back in February. So it's been available for the community, and we've received a lot of feedback that shaped the product we have live today. And the main goal with the assistants is to move the Kagi assistant experience down to a clean choice. So you use so you use quick for everyday questions where speed matters, and you switch to research when stakes are higher and you want more depth. And yes, and again, to use the foundation word, so we have many more to come. The direction is fairly clear, and we're building on this foundation. We have a lot of ideas on how and what we will do. And to wrap it up, 2026 will be about what we build on top of these pillars. And we really want to thank everyone who gave feedback this year. This roadmap really was shaped by you. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic, Luis. Kagi Assistant just keeps getting better, and I love the new tag system as well. Now let's hear about our education initiatives. Kevin, tell us more, please.
Well, so my name is Kevin. I'm the head of education here at Kagi. I am relatively new to the team, started in mid-June. And fun fact, I started on the same day that Kagi for Libraries launched. So that was really a fun kind of just hit the ground running. Well, why libraries? I want to kind of just talk about this a little bit. Libraries and schools, I'm going to add education to that because of my education background, but really have a shared ethos with Kagi. Privacy, right to information, freedom from interference. In fact, the American Library Association is committed to Article 19 of the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states everyone has a right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media, regardless of frontiers. And as a search company, we think this is really important. And we believe that by working with libraries as part of our public benefit mission, we can help reach a wider population, including some of those most vulnerable populations. So this is Kagi for Libraries. We're in nearly 20 libraries with a patron reach of over 100,000 people. And so please, tell your local library about Kagi for Libraries. It's a free program. It's free search during the pilot. It's open to all public, academic, and specialized libraries. And you can find out more information by going to kagi.com/libraries. Next, I want to talk about education, since this is kind of something dear to me. I love education. I love working with schools. And, we think of kind of this is one of the best ways that we can positively impact the future by focusing on children, students, their legacy. And so, what's the mission of Kagi for Education? Well, we're building tools to empower the next generation of innovators to cultivate deep focus in a noisy digital world. This is really important, especially in this day and age where everybody's lobbying for your attention and eyeballs. And so our educational products, we're still early in this mission, but will protect students from digital distraction, help them find genuine, trustworthy information, and develop the skills for sustained meaningful learning. And we have a whole wide, we're going to be taking some of the tools that we already have and bringing it down to the level of students, as well as release some new tools. But we'd like to welcome our first education partner. This is a big one right here in the Bay Area, so in our backyard, San Francisco Public Schools. And we are going to be welcoming all of their librarians or district librarians to help bring Kagi and the Kagi mission to all of their students in libraries across the district. They chose us for the same reason you all, choose Kagi, because search quality has gotten so bad in other places, and Kagi is the best search ever. Because of information literacy crisis, there's so much AI slop and bias out there, and they love what Kagi tools, how Kagi tools can solve for that, and also just a values alignment, privacy, where we're not, they want to protect students from in student information. And as part of the first kind of product out of Kagi for Education is Slop Detective. Slop Detective is the free educational game from Kagi Game Design Studios. Kidding on that last part. But aimed at kids starting at ages 8 to 10, where they learn to spot AI slop. And this was soft launch at the end of last month in coordination with the Slop Stop initiative, but directed at younger kiddos. And the goal is to help them think deeper about the content they consume or are exposed to on the internet. Next slide, please. So kids can join the fight and save us from the slop syndicate, where we have these villains that have these special powers that they put out low quality AI generated content like fake facts, overly wordy text, visual glitches, and more. There's a whole bunch. The goal here isn't to create these master AI detection, kids. The goal is to teach kids the habit of scrutiny, to pause, to look closely, to ask questions. And we think that all of these skills really transfers to all kinds of online content, including understanding when you're being targeted by ads or when you're experiencing misinformation. So please try it out, slopdetective.kagi.com. It's available on the Google Play Store and the App Store. Let us know what you think. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. It's great to see Kagi making an impact in education. And now for some treats. Kagin is up next. Sorry, Yannick is up next to cover News, Translate, Summarizer, and Orion for Linux. Take it away, Yannick.
So yeah, hello everyone. I'm going to talk to you about 3 products that were launched or improved this year. But before that, a very short update about Orion Linux. So where are we with our browser Orion? Our world domination won't stop at macOS, right? So that's why we are currently working to realize Orion on Linux. We are currently in the almost public alpha phase, where all Orion Plus subscribers will be invited in the coming days to try it out. And early next year, those who have shown interest on our Orion feedback seed site will be able to try the beta version. And finally, the final version should be released in April. And you can follow orionbrowser.com to stay updated, or our x.com account. So yeah, a little post to let you admire the amazing work our designers have done on the logos and in the interface. Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, David, you can change. So let's talk about Kagi Translate. This year, the tool has truly evolved. It's no longer a simple translator. It has grown into a powerful, serious competitor to the biggest names in the industry. And I really want to give a huge shout out to the team for the incredible work they have done. Shout out! We have fundamentally upgraded the core experience. For text, you now have on-device history and favorite. But we went further by adding context, genre, semantic roles to ensure your translation isn't just accurate, it's tone perfect. And we also gave dictionary its own space, complete with etymology, pronunciation, synonyms, and specialized support for the nuances of Slavic and Asian languages. Before simple text, we have expanded into documents and image. We haven't completely rebuilt our website translation engine for speed, which now features side-by-side view. But translation is also about how you write, and we have added a dedicated proofreading feature to help you craft the perfect message every time. And because we like to push boundaries, you can translate into virtually infinite numbers of language. So if you feel adventurous, you can try to translate into emoji, drunk pirate, or even Donald Trump. It's great, it's amazing, it's the best application you will ever try. So yeah, to make all of this accessible everywhere, we have already launched a browser extension for Chrome, Firefox, and Opera. It offers an immersive experience, allowing you to translate tweets, comments, or messages on LinkedIn, Reddit, or WhatsApp with a single click. And we are not stopping there. A dedicated mobile app is on the way, and Orion Brother will see even deeper integration very soon. So finally, I'm proud to share that we are developing specialized tools for teachers as part of our long-term commitment to education. You can find the extension right now in your favorite store. Give it a try. Kagi Translation is accessible for free. However, certain features or options are reserved for paying Kagi members, of course. All mobile versions of our products are always compatible with iOS and Android. And for those who are interested, we have an API available. New Kagi products released this year. News! We all know the feeling of being overwhelmed by the non-stop news cycle. That's why with news we decide to do something different. We build an app that imposes a strict limit by design. Instead of endless feed, our AI carefully selects up to 12 balanced stories. By synthesizing multiple perspectives into a single, neutral overview, we make sure you stay informed without losing track of your time. And to help you stay focused, we only provide a single update per day. The core of the product is community-driven, based on public RSS feeds, where anyone can contribute to the source. You can choose the level of depth you want for every article, and perhaps most importantly, you have access to a virtual infinity of translations. Personally, one of my favorite ways to use it is to reading local Chinese and Japanese news directly in French. It's like having a window into a different culture without the language barrier. News is just getting started with a ton of new features coming next year. And by the way, News is also available on macOS in a simplified version for now, and we would love to get your feedback on it. And for those who are interested, we have an API available. Another project we are proud of this year is Summarize. And as the name suggests, it does exactly that, but with a level of intelligence that changes how you browse. We have all been there. You click on an article looking for a simple answer, but you have to wade through 2 paragraphs of intro, 3 paragraphs of history, and an endless filler just to find the information buried at the very bottom. It's frustrating and it's a waste of your time. Summarize, clean all that up. It cuts through the noise to deliver only what's relevant. And if you are looking at top 10 list of cameras, for example, you can switch to key points node, no fluff, just the result you actually care about. And if you are diving to something very fascinating but very dense, like an article of Antimatter, you can use the Explain Like I'm 5 mode, A5 for short. It doesn't just shorten the text, it adds some context to help you truly grasp complex subjects. Summarize is completely free on iOS and Android apps, and here too you have a roadmap next year with lots of new features. And for those who are interested, we have an API available. Thank you for listening, and back to you, David.
Now let's talk maps. Go ahead, Dylan.
Hello, hey, thanks, David. Thank you all. I'm Dylan. I'm one of the lead devs on Kagi Maps, and I have the hat to prove it. Genuinely, first off, a thank you to everyone attending. It's genuinely a pleasure to speak to our users directly, and we would not be here without you. So thank you again for supporting us. So a lot of work through 2025 has went into improving the first line of contact for Kagi Maps, the inline map. And a lot of work has gone into our maps classifier to better determine when to surface that sort of first point of contact of Kagi Maps and provide better localized results. We've done a lot with the classifier itself, and we have more planned in 2026 for context-aware results to appropriately render the inline map widget to get better context for whenever you're trying to make some sort of localized search. And that leads us to our second point of contact, the web application itself. A lot of work has gone into that through 2025 as well. Still built on the base of Mapbox infrastructure and OpenStreetMap data sets as like our foundation. But starting in March of this year, a lot of work went into our architecture, which was rebuilt from the ground up using SvelteKit as a JavaScript framework and Cloudflare to help manage data and distribution along our backend. Basically, the main goal of our architectural redesign was surfacing the map faster, better performance, better reliability, and a faster pipeline from development to distribution of new features. And some of those highlighting here. So first up in the top left corner, we've added so we work off of a fork of the Mapbox standard style. So we've forked off of it, made our own design using it. And one of the layers that we've utilized in there is the global landmarks. So here, looking at downtown Tucson, Arizona, you can see some of the quote unquote landmark POIs, like the Arizona Theater Company or the Pima County Community Library. So trying to not just, be able to identify regions at a glance from looking at roadways, but being able to see landmark features of like kind of places to go, places to check out. Next slide. At the highest zoom level, we are working at integrating the high definition roadways across the globe. So zooming into the highest zoom levels, being able to see the number of lanes, turn lanes, bicycle lanes, more clearly identifying pedestrian-friendly zones like crosswalks. So I'm sure this would imagine the hint to come of Mapbox navigation and directions, one thing that we do plan on working on through 2026. Next slide. We've also created what we call our global popular areas data layer. So accessible on the bottom right corner there, toggling on the popular areas. And what it does is it programmatically will look at locally owned cafes, restaurants, cultural centers, nightlife, parks, and try and determine where people tend to congregate. And so what you're looking at here for downtown Tucson, towards the left-hand side of the screen, that is like our main downtown footprint. And if you see towards like the top right, a second little cluster there is near to our university, the University of Arizona. So again, at a glance, not just searchability, but browsability of the map, being able to turn on a layer and just try and find out where are the walkable neighborhoods? Where do people tend to congregate? Where can I just not just search something, but wander the street and maybe find a park, a local business, something or other like that. Finally, next slide. Adding support for the OpenStreetMap base map, the GOAT of base maps, the greatest of all time. We want to deepen our ties with OpenStreetMap more directly to the user. I love OSM, and it's not just about another map layer to look at or something, but this is a much lighter weight version of the map. So you can have faster performance on older computers, older phones, and sometimes it can be easier to go off of it from that way. And it wouldn't be, we can't just look at screenshots. Next slide, please. Let's actually do just a quick demo video demo of the desktop map itself. So again, as you can see here, loading in many more POIs through 2025, and then turning on the popular areas, again, you can just find small hotspot clusters of where maybe people, again, tend to congregate. Again, that downtown Tucson footprint, and then the university area there. So it's a quick way at a glance to find out where are like interesting collections of small businesses. We're also expanding our settings page to really allow the experience be yours. And as you can see here, the ability to filter individual types of POIs, over 180 different types of POIs, and being able to shut off maybe lodging. You know, in my hometown, it's not like I go to hotels or hospitals all that often, let's hope. So why not be able to shut those off? And by doing that, it enables you to better surface other POIs that you may not otherwise see. We also just have a toggle for being able to show only locally owned businesses. So what that can do is better filter out chain businesses, chain restaurants, fast foods, department stores. And again, all about just surfacing just maybe what you want to see on the map. The search experience itself, a lot more work going into getting more images, more data, links to external providers, links to maybe small businesses' social media accounts. And then finally, again, deeper ties to OSM with direct links to OSM nodes and features, so that if you wanted to make an edit, you can more easily do so jumping from Kagi to OSM. That's what we have for 2025. We have a lot more planned for 2026. And again, thank you for supporting us. And back to David.
Thank you, Dylan. Kagi Maps looks gorgeous, and popular areas seems very useful when traveling. Now let's talk browsers. Dinesh has some updates on Orion. Over to you, Dinesh.
Thanks, David. Hello, everyone. I'm Dinesh, tech lead for Orion browser. Here's a look back at a year of progress, challenges, and wins. This year, Orion officially exited beta when we released version 1.0 on November 25. This was not a year about chasing flashy features. It was a year about maturity, about making Orion fast and dependable enough to last for me for the long term. That's what 1.0 really means for us. To get there, we kept pushing updates, like 64 releases across macOS and iOS, over 1,200 fixes and improvements, where more than 700 of those came directly from user reports. It's just a reminder of how much invisible work it takes to make things feel smoother. One of the biggest visual shifts was moving fully to new Liquid Class UI. The challenge was not about doing something new. It was about feeling modern and native on macOS without losing what our power users care about, like compact tabs. And Safari already removed that because it was not kind of compatible with the Liquid Class UI. But we added lots of efforts, and thanks to the team, which made it possible. The old multi-step onboarding was a bit too much. Now it's calmer, simpler, and the new start page wallpaper adds a bit of Kagi's personality. Like Orion should feel welcoming from the start. Let's go to the next slide, please. We redesigned tab groups. Like tabs are where people spend most of their time in a browser. We redesigned the tab groups feature so all tab groups live in vertical tabs, and switching between them is as simple as swipe. And even you can use swipe on tab groups info item in toolbar when sidebar is hidden. The goal was to make heavy multi-tab group workflow feel lighter and easier to move now. We did some big refactors this year to achieve better stability, and as a result, we saw 70% fewer daily crashes, major gain with hundreds of tabs, and much faster launch time with large sessions, which was kind of frustrating previously. Like Orion was unable to handle 1,000 tabs and more than that. So we just fixed those with big refactors. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay. Exiting beta also meant taking security even more seriously. We fixed a range of security issues, things like accesses, permissions, and UI spoofing, and some PDF-related RCEs. We also added native support for privacy paths and improved our built-in content blocker, reducing rule size by 50% and making YouTube ad blocking works better. Extensions are essential for many users. And this year, we focused on compatibility and stability for web extensions, especially for the iOS. Like nearly 70 extension-specific fixes, complete redesigned extension screen for iOS, better content script isolation for iOS, and improved support for some popular extensions like 1Password, which was not working flawlessly on iOS previously, but now it works better. And even we updated support for Proton Pass, Proton VPN, and Bitwarden, where Proton VPN needed new web extension API support, which was browser.proxy. For now, it supports only static proxy configurations. But yeah, Proton VPN works flawlessly with those new API additions. Let's go to the next slide, please. Passwords and autofill are moments where failure is instantly frustrating. This year, we improved complex login flows, verification codes, multi-step authentication, and password suggestions. These are small moments, but they happen every single day. Orion 1.0, we are not saying we are done. We are saying the foundation is finally where it needs to be. None of this would have been possible without the community, your bug reports, your patience, and your high standards. So thank you all for your continued support. That's all from me.
Great stuff, Dinesh. I love the new Liquid Glass interface. Next, let's hear from Ezra on what's happening with our community.
Great. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. So over the past year, Kagi's social media presence has really taken off. If we want to show in the next slide here, we're now active across more than 10 platforms with Blue Sky and Mastodon leading the charge in terms of engagement. This is in addition to our vibrant Discord community and our growing YouTube channel where we are posting more demos and content. When it comes to metrics, we've added over 30,000 new followers in the past year. And some communities have seen more concentrated growth. With Reddit, for example, it has grown from around 700 members in the beginning of the year to over 4,000 so far this year. And none of this happens without you. Many of you here have been instrumental in getting the word out on socials. You've tagged us, boosted our post, and helped spread our mission far and wide. And that really matters because according to our latest survey, social media is often where people first discover Kagi. So we're committed to staying active across all these channels and possibly more, and building upon our community-generated growth. If you're not following us already on these platforms, we'd really encourage you to do so because it's also a very quick way to get some of our latest updates and product launches. And if you're already following us and engaging, wanted to just say thank you. And to please keep sharing what we're doing because every mention helps. If we go to the next slide, please. Our feedback forms, as a lot of you here know, are really the heart of how Kagi gets built. Your bug reports, your feature requests, your engagements, that's really what informs our roadmaps and helps us prioritize what we build next across all our products. And we want to, again, give a special thanks to those of you who go beyond just reporting issues, specifically the ones answering questions, sharing tips and resources, and generally helping other Kagi members out. At Kagi, we always feel that community support is really invaluable, and it makes a real difference in how we develop Kagi as a collective and not just as a team. If you haven't already, please jump into these forums. You can share what's wrong, what's working, what you'd like to see next. And in terms of numbers, by the way, we now have almost 7,000 members on the Kage feedback forums and over 10,000 members on the Orion feedback forums. This is in addition to Discord, by the way, which is also hovering at almost 10,000 members. If we go to the next slide, one thing that really sets Kagi apart is our commitment to the small web. For those not familiar yet, the small web is basically the independent, non-commercial side of the internet. Think personal blogs, independent websites, and creators doing their own thing, the kind of authentic voices that usually get lost when you search on other engines because they're buried under big corporate sites or endless advertisements. This is the kind of web we want to see more of, and that Kage actually makes an effort to surface. We genuinely love this initiative and are eager to grow it and keep it discoverable. So that's going to be, one of our focus areas going into the next year. And what's been amazing to see is just how much many of you care about it too. The comments, the posts, the conversations we're seeing around the small web shows that this is really resonating deeply with our community. If we go next, we now have badges available for you to plug into your sites, by the way, if you participate as a small web member, and we encourage you to help us spread the word about this, as this is a big part of what keeps the web human. We have right now over 27,000 blogs featured, and we'll continue to grow from here and double down on this initiative. If we go next, just a really quick overview about our partnerships. This year, we introduced Kage Specials, where we provide exclusive deals and collaborations with privacy-first products and services that we genuinely believe in. It's another way that we're adding more value to your membership while supporting tools that align with our mission. And they're all doing the same with Kage as well. If we go to the next slide, we can see that we've already launched several Kage Specials partnerships this year with Entei, Notesnick, and Fastmail, and I'm excited to announce that Ghost Pro is coming next. So we'll have that finalized very soon for you all to enjoy. Throughout next year, you can expect more partnerships like these, and we're thinking bigger than just discounts. We're exploring ways to create real value for people using both Kage and these services together. So keep an eye out for that. And then final slide from my end, we are working on a year in review where we can see, just the highlights from this past year, milestones, product launches, major features, and notable press. Basically, a lot of what we also covered on this call, but in this more digestible format. And you can expect this next week, and we'll be sure to share it across all our community channels. Before I wrap up, I just want to say a genuine thank you to everyone here, everyone in our community. This past year, especially, you've been instrumental in getting us to where we are today. The growth, the engagement, the constructive feedback, none of it happens without you. So we're very grateful for your confidence in us and your support. And on that note, back to you, David.
Thank you, Ezra. It's always great to see our community growing. And what a lineup of updates today. Now's your turn. Vlad is back to take your questions.
Thanks, David. Are you going to share the questions? Yeah, I just want to say watching all this is very exciting. And the company is about 50 employees right now. So we are able to produce much more than and build much more than we were able to in previous years. And I think this shows, and I hope you guys agree, that Kage shipped a lot in this year, and I know there's so much more to come next year. So very excited about that. Okay, here we go. Need to expand this. Can you hit zoom in once for my old eyes, David? So let's go through these. We'll try to get to the end of the list, and it will be me responding these as well as some of our team members. So let's start with the first one. For me, you've taken Mozilla's place, which we all loved 10, 15 years ago, but which unfortunately faded away in recent years. How does the Kage team see itself? What role would you like to play in the tech/privacy landscape? And what are your ambitions beyond creating excellent software? Yeah, so this question does resonate with me as well. In the early 2000s, I was also a fond user of Firefox, and I do remember fondly the golden age of Mozilla innovation between 2005 and 2010, when we got things like Firebug, and Asa Raskin was leading the Firefox labs. And yes, in many ways, I think Kagi resonates with the same people who were excited about what Mozilla had to offer back in the time. And I do see us as sort of carrying the torch of building user-centric products, building exciting things on the web, encouraging people to become part of the web. So in many ways, I do feel Kagi has carried the torch that Mozilla originally started. Unfortunately, Mozilla had one giant problem from the get-go, and that was that their users were not their customers. And I think it sort of goes into the question number 2, which basically asks, how is Kagi going to prevent enshittification of the company? And I think the key thing there is, if your users are not also your customers, then enshittification is almost inevitable from the standpoint of the user. And we have seen that happen not just to Mozilla, but to basically every search engine out there, every social media company. Whenever the user is not the customer, the user really doesn't have any leverage. And I think that is the main thing that Kagi users have. We have given you a unique privilege to simply walk away with your money and with your wallet if Kagi starts to unshittify or is in any other way not providing the value of the service for your money. I'd also add that one of the reasons I built this company was to leave a better world for my own kids, or at least leave a better web. And pretty much focused on doing exactly that. And finally, life is too short to run a shitty or a enshittified company. So I don't see myself doing that. Let's move on. Question number 3: is Kagi in a healthy state at the moment? The question lacks a definition of a healthy state, but if you ask me, am I eager to wake up for work every day? Yes, the answer is yes. Are we doing well financially? The answer is yes as well. We are profitable or break-even profitable, meaning we're not going anywhere anytime soon. I think we have a wonderful team of very talented people. We have a very amazing user community, and we have a pretty good vision of where we want to take the company. So as far as company goes, I would say that Kagi is in a healthy state at the moment. Question number 4: how dependent is Kagi on Google? If Google decided to cut off access to search results, would that be the end of Kagi? This is a somewhat complex question that I'll try to answer as much as I can. So first of all, we already had experiments where the Google results would be turned off for a day. And you guys haven't even noticed. And this is just to say that in aggregate, because we use so many sources, the quality of search results can remain pretty high. Having said that, as most of you know, Google is currently under a big antitrust lawsuit with DOJ, in which we actively participated by posting a blog post with suggested remedies to that case. which granted us also discussion with Department of Justice. And we were very happy to see that our suggestions have been included and actually are being pushed as the remedies for the case, which do include Google opening the index to all competitors. And really, if you think about Sherman Act and what the anti-monopoly laws in U.S. are expected to do, it's really about opening the marketplace for competitors and creating healthy competition in the marketplace. So we have been pushing for Google opening the search index for everybody to use, which can produce tens and hundreds of search startups in the future. And this is where the Department of Justice is going at this moment, and we are very excited to see the movement in that direction. Having said that, the Google access for Kagi is sort of already cut off in a way, and we are getting results through third parties and resellers. So it's not like we have a privileged position or anything like that. Question number 5. Is Kagi aiming to be a complete Google ecosystem replacement? If so, are things like Kagi Drive, Kagi Docs, YouTube alternative, etc., eventually going to happen? Boris, you want to take this one?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'd love to. This is a very interesting question, and this has been topic for quite some time and still is for us internally. The short answer here essentially is that Kagi is not trying to clone Google system, at least not feature for feature in the sense that we want to replace the catalog of products by building Kagi Docs or Google YouTube alternative just simply because Google has them, so we want to have them as well. I think if nothing else, that path leads to bloat and solving wrong problems. What we, however, definitely are aiming for is something that is much more deliberate and fundamentally different. And that's an ecosystem where every Kagi product is a limb of a same intelligence, aligned with user, transparent in the actions, and designed to think with user, not to extract things from user. Even today, our products they're very strong tools, but the real advantage as we see future is only when those tools behave like one mind. And that's where we're aiming for when we think about the ecosystem. We see a unique opportunity where we can combine deep contextual understanding with a very strong user privacy layer and deliver that through intentional and seamless integration. At the same time, I feel it's very important to acknowledge one thing and to be clear about our constraints. We are a small company and we are careful not to stretch ourselves too thin. And the product quality is non-negotiable for us, which means that the ecosystem is not going to appear overnight. It's going to be built deliberately, a step at a time, and only where we can maintain our level of trust in the craftsmanship that our users expect from us. And that's kind of the ecosystem we're set out to build very carefully, very intentionally, and only where it truly helps.
Thanks, Boris. Moving on to question 6. Has there been any headway made with regard to Kagi as a system default on Apple devices? You've got to think there's a lot of people at Apple who are also Kagi subscribers. Yes, that's true. We have a lot of people using Apple devices that are Kagi users. We have a lot of people inside Apple using Kagi. Having said that, Kagi does not really have any leverage to sort of force Apple to add Kagi as a list of search engines in Safari. So this is where you guys come in. There are basically 2 ways to propagate what you want. One is there's the official Safari feedback page at apple.com/feedback/Safari, and please send feedback to Apple. The other one is just good old send email to CEO. Tim Cook is tcook@apple.com. So feel free to do that. Question number 7. How secure is Orion? For example, with a 0-day that was recently discovered in the WebKit and actively used, how fast can a user of Orion expect a patch? Do you plan to commission a third-party security audit for Orion? Dinesh, will you take this one, please?
Yeah, I'll love to. Okay, so how secure Orion is? So yes, it is. Orion is secure, and security is a top priority for us. And we are already started fixing the recent WebKit 0-day and planning to release the patch within a week. So be assured. We also continuously reviewing Orion security and are also exploring third-party audits to make sure Orion will remain secure for everyone. So that's all.
Thank you, Dinesh. Question number 8, similar vein, regarding the infrastructure. Users cannot verify most claims you make about it. What do you do to prevent intelligence services or other adversaries log our searches and activity? Zach?
Yeah, sure. So it's pretty complicated. Of course, we have to lean on a lot of, or rather stand on the shoulders of a lot of technology to kind of get Kagi going, such as, like all of our search results mostly come from third-party indexes. So to a certain degree, there's only so much we can do. But, since we're only beholden to our users, it mostly comes down to just ensuring we absolutely send, the most minimum amount of data to any kind of third party to kind of fulfill your request. So like when you're making a search, like we're only sending just your search terms, your settings, like your region, whatever's only what's relevant, never like your IP address or user agent for those things. So of course that's still in the vein of like, you need to trust us for that, but for the time being, like your best bet, it's something, you're really conscious of. As I talked before in the presentation, that's why we built things like Privacy Pass in Tor, so you kind of don't need to trust us really that much. And those technologies will kind of like help you stay anonymous on the web. You don't have to rely on us to like do anything good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add that Kage's business model fundamentally is such that we treat user data as a liability. So we want to have the least possible amount of it. We really do not need, the only thing we need from users is $10 a month. And so this fundamentally changes the equation in how we approach building services and things like that. We really do not want to store anything but the very bare minimum needed to operate the service. So I'd say these kind of protections are built in by default with having that stance to user data. Okay, number 9. Considering the evolving landscape of search and data privacy regulations, what are Kagi's plans regarding the potential adoption integration of European search perspective? So we are very happy that this is happening. The more indexes, the better as far as we are concerned, and we are happy to evaluate this once it's available. The principles we evaluate any source of data that we use in Kagi are pretty much standard. It's going to be quality, it's going to be latency, it's going to be cost, it's going to be privacy angles. So pretty much same across the board, and hopefully Europe will be successful in creating its own search index, and Kagi will be a happy customer of it if it passes these criteria. And we'll also try to provide this without any increase in price to our existing customers. So more to come when we know more about this. Question 10. What goes into decision making at Kagi for things like Kagi Mail, SlopStop, etc.? Before handing it over to Luis, just want to give sort of my own perspective. As I thought about this a little bit, and at least for me, anything new that we build has to get me excited. So that would be criteria number one. Am I excited about having this in our portfolio? Am I excited about being able to use it in the future? And the other thing is that I'm thinking about is it going to be sustainable? Can it sustain itself long term? So though, at least from my standpoint, those are the two, but I'm curious also to hear what Luis says about this.
Yes, I mean, I would just say that perhaps on a more micro level, I guess then we do usually take a lot of input from leadership, in this case Vlad, as he just said. So in terms of the vision about what the company should be in the long term and the type of products we want to build, and these discussions don't happen necessarily only with a few people. They're pretty much very transparent across the company, and people are very vocal about these things, and we keep fine-tuning those, but the leadership basically sets that long-term direction. Then we have product managers like myself that try to represent the customer, and this to say that user input plays a huge role in decision making for things like Kagi mail, swap swap, any other feature we end up building. What customers want and need is one of the key signals to all of this. And then we have engineering as another source of input, and the engineers will rethink whatever we come up with from the tech point of view, which in our case, it really, really helps to create delightful experiences. We have a lot of examples, actually, of a lot of features we shipped that we could have an idea initially, and then it was shaped by engineering. And yeah, and all these things are crossed by a very strong design team that makes sure we have a coherent UI and experience, accessibility. Then we have great marketing and support teams that also help. So decision making isn't really, is really just like trying to combine all these things into something that we can actually execute on. Yeah, I hope that was.
Thank you, Les. Yeah, looking at time, I see I have to speed up. Let's try to have a minute per answer. Question 11, can you give us status? Oh, and of course, then the next question is a huge one. Can you give status updates on Kagi Mail and Orion for Linux? Let's just address these really quick. First, Boris for Mail, and then Yannick for Orion for Linux.
Sure. Love to. We're working very hard on Kagi Mail. I'm super excited as we are going to be able to onboard the first cohort of users right after holiday. Anybody who wants to try and they're not still on the waiting list, please ping me on Discord. I'm going to add you. So we'll slowly start adding batches of people from January and take from there. I really wouldn't love to talk much more about Kagi Mail right now. So we'll be able to, you'll be able to try it and see it, and we'll talk much more about feature sets, like what it's going to be strong with in weeks to come. But for now, just bear with us as we are getting prepared for the private beta launch.
Thanks, Boris. And Yannick, Orion for Linux?
Yeah, sure. So we talk about Linux, but regarding the roadmap for Orion, the biggest point clearly is Orion for Windows next year. We have just started the project, and we accept a similar timing with an alpha version at the end of next year. And just about Orion across all platforms should benefit from, among other things, better optional integration of Kagi services, include the assistant and ability to display multiple pages in the same time. Yeah. Yes. And more exclusive items for Orion Plus members.
Did I miss Orion for Linux alpha launch date?
Yes, you missed it.
Oh,
8.
Can you repeat it?
No, yeah. It's done. No, it's in April.
April.
Yes,
April.
That's It's
That's
by
the beta,
accent.
not the alpha, though. Okay.
Oh, okay. I can repeat it. Alpha is for Orion Plus user, and they will receive an email in the following days to test it.
Oh, okay. Following days. Okay, you heard it
Yes.
from the man himself. Okay. Number 12. I often see the sentiment on Hacker News and elsewhere that Kagi lacks focus and works on too many things: t-shirts, office space, email. Really, office space is too much for a company to work on. How do you balance initiatives, and do you feel like there's too many? So two things just to say here. One, the idea of Kagi was to be an ecosystem of products from day one. This is why we started actually building the browser before we started building search. And the idea was always to provide a holistic, user-centric replacement for big tech. So that does include building more than one product by definition. Second, I'd say that the quality of our core products is improving every day. And you could have seen in today's presentations the improvements we made in search, in browser, and things like that. So it's not like the additional projects are taking away our focus from the core initiatives. Third, the Kage is growing as a company, and we have more people now than we had 5 years ago. It was basically 5 people built the search, and now we have 50 people. So there is much more we can do. And finally, life is too short to work at a boring company. So we will continue doing T-shirts and socks and who knows what. Question number 13. Does Kagi have interests in creating hardware products? Kevin.
Thanks. So in the vein of what Vlad just said, we like making interesting things. And so the to continue on that front, we're interested in being as useful as possible to you whenever you need us, wherever you are. So we are thinking of situations, what if Kagi could be there for you without you needing to pull out your phone or open a laptop when you're out in the actual world and you have a question, or so we're thinking in a whole bunch of different scenarios, and we're working on something. We can't say more yet, but we're very excited. 2026 is going to be a great year, and we can't wait to share it with you guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Question 14. Would you let Google acquire Kagi for $1 billion? No, I think that's Kagi is worth much more. Question 15. Any plan for an assistant iOS app? Yes. So Luis is already running a test version on his phone, and hopefully we'll be able to share this soon with you. Question 16, will we have Kagi translate Android app with text scanning feature via the phone's camera? The answer is yes. Kagi Translate mobile app is also in the works. We are all dogfooding it internally, and we plan it to be the most useful translation app you can have on your phone. Question 17. Deficiencies and defects in Kagi search continue to accumulate on Kagi feedback forum day by day, far outnumbering those that are addressed by periodic product updates. Ouch. What will Kagi do differently in 2026 to substantially enhance the focus on the quality of the core search product in order to truly evolve into a premium search engine? Zach and Lewis, hot potato.
I can start on that a little bit. So I mean, a large amount of issues. There's two main things at play here. A large amount of issues on feedback, especially having to do with search quality. You know, it's kind of making the best out of what we have to work with, which is, whatever these upstream indexes give us. So there's a lot of things that are just limited by the fact that, it's kind of either the best our upstreams can give us, or, we can't just like go in their code and like fix their stuff. So It's kind of a chase, like a dog chasing its tail kind of situation. Um, but and then the other problem is, definitely some growing pains. As our tech has grown, for a large part, in a large way, the current implementation of Surf that's live is kind of still like the original one that we made, built years ago. Um, so with regards to both of those things, as I talked about earlier, we've been working very hard. That's why you haven't seen as much updates about this, but working very hard on like completely redoing our search pipeline so that we can really dig deep into some of these issues that we have control over on our end, as well as investing in things like our index team to kind of, surface, take more agency over the quality of the search results that we wouldn't be able to do just by the nature of, you know, not having control over these upstream indexes. So.
Well, I'll add to it that we are also doing internal review of how we address the Kagi feedback and Orion feedback for that matter. For many years, I was involved personally into reading every single point of feedback that you guys left. Nowadays, there's a lot of you, and there's a lot of feedback coming in, and it's a structural problem in a way to address all of it and do triage and then put it on the team's plate. So we are doing some internal changes in the way we're going to be addressing this. So whoever asked this question, if by 3 months we are not making substantial progress, feel free to email me at vlad@kagi.com, and I'll personally address it. Question 18. I love your idea of Kagi Hub. It's beautiful. What's your vision for this project? Would you like to expand it to other cities? Just as a reminder, well, thank you. First of all, if you haven't heard about Kagi Hub, it's our first co-working space that we opened in Belgrade, Serbia. So basically, there's a website, you can sign up and visit and work for free, or use the co-working space for free along our own employees who work in Belgrade. And really, the idea was simple. We were opening an office in Belgrade. We have a somewhat large team there, so it was the first physical office we opened. And since it was a pretty big office, we said, why don't we just share this with our Kagi members? So if you're a Kagi member and you like traveling, and the road takes you to Belgrade, Serbia, now you have a place to work for free. It's a beautiful place, downtown Belgrade. If we are going to expand it to other cities, it's not at top of our roadmap or priorities. We'll see how this goes. It's basically an experiment, and we'll take it from there. Question 19. When will Kagi raise again? I'm interested in participating in the next funding round. We don't know, but if you're interested in participating, you can go to kagi.com/investors and get in touch, and we will let you know when that happens. Question 20. This one was written by Kevin, obviously. With the great addition of Kevin Elgan from Chatterbox on the Kagi team, what's the ultimate goal for Kagi as an education product? How's that going, Kevin?
I wasn't ready for that. That was good. Whoever wrote that, I'll Venmo you some money afterwards. But really, education. It's again, we're starting with SFUSD, but it comes down to three things. One is protect. Again, one thing that we kind of miss is that kids view the world very differently. There's research that kids, around 8 or 9, up to around 8 or 9, can't tell that they're being advertised to. In this day and age, AI and all this noise and influx of information, it's really overwhelming to everybody. It's overwhelming to adults. That's why we're all here using Kagi. That's how I found Kagi. So it comes down to three things. One, protect from digital distractions. We're already doing that. It's, a Kagi is how you sift through the internet. It's the gateway to the internet. And then for kids, and Slop Detective is the first part of that, find genuine, trustworthy information. Um, that's something that is it's harder and harder to do. That's why we're building all these tools like Slop Stop to eliminate all that low quality content. And then on the third part is how do we get kids to, in a world where everything is vying for your attention, how do we help you focus? How do we help kids focus and really understand concepts at a deeper level? And we have some ideas and we're testing it and we're going to be developing that. We have a whole bunch of schools. If you are an educator or if you want to introduce this to your child's school, feel free to shoot me an email, kevin@kagi.com. And we have a bunch of schools actually ready to get started, but really 2026 is going to be that year for us. So we're really excited. There's a lot of excitement, and we're getting some great feedback from school directors and everything. So yeah, stay tuned.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to extend this by 5 minutes and try to go through as many others we have here. So question 21, what is the cost of building your own index? How long will it take? First of all, Kagi is not building an index of the entire web, just to be clear. Cost of doing that is, it took Microsoft 20 years and $100 billion to come up with Bing. And how many of you would pay for Bing? So that's not going to happen. The train has left the station for that 20 years ago. We are instead focusing on niche parts of the web, so things that are long forgotten in other search engines, like the small web that Ezra talked about, like the non-commercial web, like the things that you guys really care about. So this is what we gonna try and fill with our own index. These gaps that we do see in everyday use that you guys submit search quality issues for and things like that. Question 22. My main concern about Kagi is that you are based in USA, which is becoming increasingly hostile towards the rest of civilized world. Would you seriously consider relocating the Kagi company to another country? It's a bit politically loaded question, and I don't like to talk about politics, but I'll just say that companies are not countries. I've live in US, have many friends here, my family's here, and I certainly do not share the sentiment. So yeah, just move on. Question 23, beyond search engines, how do you think we can encourage a healthier web that rewards quality content and does not depend on advertisements? Do you think micropayments can ever work? Yes, I do think micropayments can ever work. It's one of the reasons we actually started building our own browser. I was always hoping that one day we will be able to create a micropayment protocol. Actually, there is a web standard for that has been defined, and it's just sitting there for almost a decade now that nobody implemented. Unfortunately, anything touching finance touches a ton of regulation and compliance, and we are just too small to deal with that all right now. But it has been on top of my mind since creating Kagi that this is a more sustainable and more natural way to reward content creators, random blog you're reading, or anything for that matter. So yes. Stay tuned for that. Dogo Plushie when? Nat, are you here to answer?
Yep. Hi, everyone. I honestly wouldn't mind a ginormous Kibara plushie for myself. But just like with every swag item that we have, it would have to be created in line with our quality standards. I don't really see them being mass produced with poor quality material. So if we were to do it, it would take quite some time to find a manufacturer and organize the production. What we could do, we probably could collaborate with toy artists, possibly create some collectibles. So if anyone knows someone who makes great toys, on Fediverse or Etsy or anywhere else, let me know. And as for the stickers, we keep receiving this question. There's clearly a demand for them. We've already begun working out the logistics for that. So I'm hoping this is something that is going to happen next year.
And by the way, Nat is nat@kagi.com. If you want to send her ideas about Kagi swag, I'll just say that my internal push for doggo privacy protecting underwear is still not going anywhere, but I'll be persistent. Anyway, 25. How does Kagi think about trust? How do you show you're trustworthy? A lot of questions here seem to be thinking that as we've been burned by so many companies before. Yeah, I think I addressed this in a previous question. So basically, the nature of the business model is such that all user data is liability for us, and we tend to have as least as we can, just minimal to run the service. So. And we also produced technologies like the Privacy Pass, which guarantees basically anonymity if that is what you require. And Zach talked more about it in his presentation. Question 26. What does it mean to humanize the web? Humanizing the web is a term I came up with in the early days of Kagi, where most of the web back then was covered in content whose only purpose was to generate revenue through ads, basically. And I remember the web from the early 2000s and late 1990s, where it was just weird and quirky, and we self-expressed in various ways, and it was the web of discovery and curiosity. And to humanize the web really, to me, means having more humans or finding more humans on the web and connecting with them. Kage Small Web is an excellent avenue to this, and this is my daily dose of humanity, if you will. How I start my day, I go to Kagi Small Web and randomly read a couple of blog posts from people around the web. So in modern day and age, we have another enemy coming to the web. It's the AI-generated content, or SLOP, and we have launched SLOP Stop initiative to combat that as well. So I think Kagi is doing fair share at trying to bring more humans to the web and help us all connect to them. Question 27, what role does Stephen Wolfram actually have at Kagi? So Stephen Wolfram is a member of the Kagi's advisory board, together with Raghu Murthy, Rory Sutherland, and Norman Minarski. Yeah, that's basically it. I meet with Stephen on a regular basis and talk about all things, all the hard problems we have. Okay, we are 7 minutes across the time, so I would stop here. We'll make sure to address all these other questions we had in writing on our Discord channel hopefully today. So thank you all. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for giving us your time, and most importantly, trusting and supporting Kagi. Please help spread the word. That's the main way we continue to grow and expand our reach. Yes, thank you all presenters today. It was awesome to see all the progress we made, and hopefully user community, you agree that we did a lot, and I can promise we'll do even more next year. Thanks, everybody.
All right, that wraps up our end of year community event. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the holidays. See you next year.